Creating Magic. The inspiring life story of Walt Disney. On December 5, 1901, in Chicago, Illinois, Walt Disney was born. He was the fourth of Flora Call Disney and Elias Disney's 5 children. His mother was a schoolteacher, while his father was a Canadian immigrant who worked as a building contractor. Walt's family relocated to a farm in Marceline, Missouri, when he was 4 years old. Walt developed a love for the outdoors and the natural world there. He spent the most of his youth running after animals, playing in the fields, and exploring the adjacent woods. But his greatest passion was sketching. Walt showed artistic skill from a young age. He spent countless hours sketching his favorite animals and cartoon characters because he loved to paint and draw. When he wasn't indoors working on a sketch instead of outside playing, he was imagining new worlds and characters. Walt was a typical student at the Marceline Public School. But his passion for storytelling and sketching never diminished. In his own time, he frequently produced comics for his students and performed puppet performances. When Walt was 16 years old, his family once more relocated, this time to Kansas City, Missouri. Here, Walt started to actively consider his paintings. He began taking night classes at the Academy of Fine Arts while also pursuing a career as a commercial artist. By utilizing a borrowed camera to make his first animated shorts, he also started experimenting with animation. Walt wanted to pursue a profession in commercial art after graduating from high school. He first worked as a cartoonist for a nearby newspaper before transitioning into the field of advertising. But animation was where his heart was always. He adored the concept of bringing illustrations to life by having the characters sing, dance, and tell tales. Walt and his brother Roy made the decision to launch their own animation studio in 1920. They established a business in Kansas City under the name LaFo-Gram. They created a number of short movies, one of which was inspired by the well-known fairy tale, Little Red Riding Hood. However, despite their best efforts, the studio faced financial difficulties. Walt made the decision to leave his home in 1923 and relocate to Hollywood in the hopes of finding better possibilities. Walt only had his suitcase and his dreams when he first landed in Hollywood. On Hyperion Avenue, he rented a modest office and got to work. He started making up new stories and characters, like Mickey, a brave little mouse. Walt created his first Mickey Mouse cartoon in 1928, titled Steamboat Willie. Walt's career was immediately shot into the stratosphere and became an instant hit. In the years that followed, Walt developed dozens of well-known characters, including as Donald Duck, Goofy, and Pluto, and he also directed some of the most enduring motion pictures ever made, such as Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Pinocchio, and Fantasia. Despite his extraordinary success, Walt had to overcome several obstacles throughout his career. He started work on a costly and dangerous undertaking in the early 1940s, a feature-length animated cartoon. Walt continued despite the fact that many others in Hollywood thought he was crazy, investing all of his imagination and resources into the creation of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. The movie was a huge hit with audiences and critics alike, and it gave animation new artistic avenues to explore. With movies like Pinocchio, Fantasia, and Bambi, which all displayed his incredible talent as a writer and animator, Walt continued to push the limits of animation. Walt was a pro at branding and marketing as well. He worked relentlessly to establish the Disney name as a mark of excellence in entertainment because he understood the importance of developing a powerful brand. He grew the business into new ventures like theme parks, television, and merchandise while also inventing an entire universe of Disney characters and tales that won over the hearts and minds of millions of people all over the world. Walt saw his fair share of setbacks and disappointments despite his many accomplishments. Early in his career, he battled with money, and later, during the McCarthy era, he was accused of having communist sympathies. He also had a tense relationship with his older brother Roy, with whom he frequently disagreed on commercial choices. Walt, however, never wavered from his commitment to his ideas or his love of animation. He worked non-stop until his passing in 1966, creating a legacy that would motivate future generations of artists and performers. Walt's legacy is still felt today in innumerable movies, TV series, and theme parks throughout the globe. Walt's foresight and leadership played a significant role in the Walt Disney Company's continued status as a cultural icon and one of the most prosperous entertainment businesses in history. Even with all of his success, Walt never lost sight of his modest beginnings. He remained grounded and never forgot how much effort and commitment it had taken to bring him where he was. He kept coming up with new ideas and pushing the limits of animation, constantly looking to produce something fresh and intriguing. Ultimately, Walt Disney's life is one of tenacity, imagination, and abiding passion for the arts. Years of artists and animators have been inspired by him to continue in his footsteps since he never gave up on his dreams, even when things were difficult. More than 50 years after his passing, his legacy is still felt today thanks to the Disney name, its films, and its characters. Thank you for joining us today.